Hello everyone, my name is Patrick. I will be creating a city today. Um, this is my first video, so I apologize for any idiocy that might arise. I'm going to do a 30-minute recording, and let's see what we can build. Alright, so when you first start a city, there's a couple things you have to consider. You need to consider resources. Fortunately, this map has none. You need to consider wind, especially when you're starting a new region. If you're playing no sandbox, wind is very important. And water. Where are you at, water? Alright, so not a ton of water, but that's shouldn't be too big of a problem. And also be aware of your connection points. So the road and rail here. So this city will feed into, oops, sorry, the city over here. So it's pretty, kind of a nice connection there. Let's come back. Alright, the ratio that you want to kind of get started with, or that you generally want to keep, is going to be RCI 60 residential, 60% residential, 30% commercial, and then 10% industrial. They're just kind of generic ballpark numbers. Wind was blowing this way, so let's just make sure. Here's our wind map. Yep. So we're going to put most of our industry on this side. Interesting. Actually, let's do that. I like that better. I'm a very slow player. I'm a grower. So when I start my cities, I just kind of let them be self-sustaining. So in any video game, you have to be level 1 before you can be level 2. You have to be level 2 for a while before you can be level 3. Welcome to level 1, right? So here we are. In the very beginning, what I like to do is just kind of sit here, chill out, enjoy the music, and just kind of watch all your cars drive in. So let's take a look here. Oh, now there it goes. So the first thing they're going to complain about is you have to start by drawing the road. Then you start putting in facilities, and then you have to provide services. So we're going to take our power. I always start with wind power at the very beginning. It works just fine. You don't have too many issues. Put my water pump over here, and my poop chute goes over here. And I think that's it. Yep. So, what was I saying? Oh, wind power to begin with, always. Always, always. It's cheap, it doesn't take a whole lot to get started, it doesn't cost anything to produce, wind is free. You're not having to worry about buying oil or coal off the global market. It's very self-sustaining. It doesn't pollute anything. Occasionally one of the turbines will break down, and they dispatch a little dude to go fix it. I really just like using wind. Later down the road, I'll replace it with solar panel, and that'll ultimately be replaced by either nuclear power or something from Cities of Tomorrow to address power. But for right now, in the early stages of the game, it's not that big of a deal. Oops, go away. And that should be fine. I might add a park in here somewhere. So the concept for SimCity is you have residents, and your residents will go to work. Or, well, they'll try to find work. Show up to work, they'll get paid, they get money, they try to find some place to spend their money. If they can't find a place to spend their money, they'll go to a park to reduce stress. If they can't find a park, they become unhappy. And if you can't maintain their happiness, they will they'll move out on you. And we want them to be very, very happy. So we get these little bubbles, and what these are is they're complaints. So red, bad; yellow, not so bad; light green, good; dark green, very good. So right now they're complaining about the city has no power, which, in fact, it does soon. There it goes. I like using power as a good example of how this game works. You see these little kind of seeker nodes. As these go along, these will provide power to the receivers. In this case, the receivers are the buildings. If you don't have enough power, you don't have enough receivers to reach the end of the building, and they'll start losing power. So with this current layout, the first buildings that will suffer from a power loss are going to be these ones down here. If that makes sense. Certain buildings take certain levels of power. Mega towers take an immense amount of power. Ooh, City Hall. Plopping City Hall in your first town is very important. You have to be mindful of space, because you're going to have a lot of upgrades, and you will need to be... yeah, space is the big one. Finance to an extent, but space is the main issue. So when you see red like that, it means that you can't build, or you won't be able to add on to that section. So we're going to build it here, kind of in the middle, and as soon as it opens up, everyone kind of lets a little cheer. There it goes. Yay, now we can go complain. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and kick it up. I have it running at turtle speed. I'm going to kick it up to cheetah speed. No, llama speed. Yeah. Llama speed is the safest speed to play this game. I almost always run it just at llama speed until I'm absolutely certain everything is exactly where I want it to be, and then I'll kick it up to cheetah. I'm not going to run it at cheetah speed right now. I'm going to wait until I get kind of back into the positive balance sheet. And you get income by charging taxes to your Sims. So later, as soon as they get a Department of Finance, they'll be able to tax each wealth independently. But in the early stages, it really doesn't matter. You can actually jack taxes up to a pretty high percentage. I keep it on default just because I like to have the flexibility, if not lower taxes. Just it improves happiness and makes you less money dependent and more people dependent, I suppose. I don't know. I hate paying taxes in real life, so why should I tax my Sims? It's personal. It's I do understand the advantage of it, just because, hey, it's a computer game and who cares? But you know, little Mackenzie Lopez, you know, he needs to grow up and I think that's a kid. I don't know. Oh no, he's off to find work. And you can click on cars and people and just kind of follow them around as they go about their days. Let's see if he can get a job. Come on, Mackenzie, let's go. Hurry it up. Nope. He's going back home. With no money. That's fine. It's kind of early in the game for that type of mechanic to work, but you get the idea. I want to put in a park. Let's put in nature. Alright, parks add land value. So the more parks you have, the higher your land value will be. Other buildings will detract from your land value. Much like the wind power plant, the poop chute, those all detract. Parks, recreation, anything that people would actually enjoy doing will raise land value. So we'll throw one over here. And try not to go too crazy in the very beginning. You will just sort of run out of money. It's not too hard to kind of throw things out of whack. How's that? That's dumb. It thinks that that park is on top of the road when it's not. But that's okay. And it's really expensive if you mess up in the very beginning. But I definitely need more residential right now than I need a park. It's 800? Yeah, it's fine. Okay. So now that that's going, so we start thinking about how we want to lay out our city. This is going to be my green city. It's going to be my academy. It will have, this city will provide all my research, assuming that it lives long enough, and it will provide services to the region. So it'll have, you know, the nice hospital and the nice fire station when I get there. It looks like with this region that I've chosen, the only other city in this map that I'll be able to send other resources to, at least in the near term, is going to be the city over here. Each city has, each region has a certain number of cities and a certain number of great works. So my guess is that these 2 cities will contribute to this great works, and these 4 will contribute to this great works. The great works are solar, it gives you power, the international airport, which brings in tourists and will accept freight from your industry, space center, which will attract tourists and education, and the arcology, which will provide workers, shoppers, and students. Now, the bad thing about regional play, in my opinion, is this great works won't contribute to these cities, to my knowledge. This great works won't contribute to these 2 cities. So you really have to be kind of careful with which great works you build near which cities, because if you have, say, shoot, I don't know, what's a good example? If you have a city that, or a region that has all 4 cities completely self-dependent with power, you don't want to have a solar farm, right? Because there's no benefit to that. You're just wasting your time and resources. Let's see here. We want Omega. Omega is something new, a city of tomorrow. It's basically heroin. You mine it out of the ground, you combine ore and coal, I believe, and mix it together, process it, and it becomes this highly addictive stuff that's manufactured by your industrial buildings and then shipped to commercial. Let's see if we can get some more income here. We're gonna have worker shortages. We're gonna have worker shortages. I'm not gonna do that. So, like I said, this is gonna be my education city, and I need to plan out where I'm gonna put my hospital, my school. Elementary schools, you just plop them down to start with. You can bulldoze them later. It's a very, very temporary solution until you can afford a high school. Again, it's the slow growing kind of thing. You have to wait to get to level 5 before you get your plopping high school ability. Vacant. So we'll wait for that. Go ahead and kick it up real fast. See if we can get some more content in before our half hour is up. So moving around the map, it's a little bit tricky. I suppose you definitely will get used to it as you play the game more. So if you left click and move, that's going to be your pan around the screen. The further your mouse goes away from the circle, the faster it'll zoom. I have all my edge turned off, so I don't get any edge scrolling, because it'll really just throw off your map. You'll be trying to do something over here, and then your mouse will fall off the map, and you get all pissed off. Right click is your movement. So if you right click hold, you can move around the map. And similarly, the further the arrow is from the compass, the faster your screen will move. So you can do kind of neat things where you don't move it very far, but you get these kind of nice slow pans, these little slow views, and you can kind of appreciate the nuances of your city. Conversely, you can use the keys WASD, and just like in video games, like MMOs and other video games, Warcraft, WASD, WASD is the way to move around. And then Q and E, the Q button will rotate, E, rotate clockwise, counterclock. And so you can kind of move around with these. It's a little clunky, but it's a really good way to get around quickly. And already we have our first abandoned house. So let's zoom in here. Uh-oh, 2. What's wrong, guys? Low land value. How are they worried about land value? It's dumb. Whatever. Probably because I plopped this park, but I don't think so. It's not as in the ritzy neighborhood that they want. You cannot collect taxes on abandoned buildings, and you cannot collect taxes on construction. So if you do a major upgrade to, say, like a road, and everything flips to construction, or buildings being built, your income will drop significantly. Definitely something you have to be aware of. You have to make sure that when you do make large changes to your cities at any stage of the game, that you can support what's going to happen after you make that change. Build more parks. Yeah, right. What a bunch of jerks. I have no money. Also, abandoned buildings will attract homeless people. Homeless people will move into abandoned buildings, and homeless people have a habit of setting things on fire. So the faster you can take care of an abandoned building, really the better off you're going to be. You won't have a bunch of your city won't be burned down by all your homeless people. The further you have your camera zoomed out, the nicer the music is. It kind of crescendos at certain points, and you can kind of figure out when those are. It's kind of nice. This game has a really pretty amazing soundtrack, especially as you get further and further into it. It really is quite pretty. And I'll go into utilities later. Kind of went over power. I'll talk about water and sewer in another video, as well as the town hall upgrades, because those can be a little bit tricky when you're first starting a city, and I'll talk about road density later. If you haven't noticed already, I like avenues. I like avenues a lot. I do have some streets in my cities. I prefer just to stick with avenues. I leave them very low density for a long time, and when I feel confident that the cities are ready for to be flipped, I'll bump them up. Put in some more residential there. How much is a grade school? I think it's 12 or 16. 16. Alright, so I can afford it. I make $251 an hour right now, and I would lose 400. So I'm going to wait for just a hot minute. I'm going to wait for these guys to move in, and hopefully my hourly income jumps up to 400. And I'll plop it over here. It really doesn't matter. The only thing that does matter is you don't want to have, well, I might put it right here since I keep moving out. Sorry about that, I thought my cat was peeing on my sweatshirt. I gotta change their litter box. That is another story for another time. Okay, so almost up there. When I destroy these houses, I'm gonna lose that income. Yeah. I'm gonna put in a couple more houses over here. You do not ever want to put residential next to your water pump. Residential will gradually pollute the land, especially if there's no garbage dump, and it will pollute the water tower. If people, and I'm speaking from experience, if it starts getting polluted, then everyone starts getting sick, and you get all these sick people walking around the streets, and it can really escalate quite quickly as you're trying to put out this famine that started. When I do make changes to the city, I like to kind of turn the speed down, so I put it back to turtle speed. It gives what I believe the simulation kind of time to catch up with itself, making sure all the dots are getting to where they need to go to their receivers, whatever they might be. 22,000 at 450 an hour, that's good enough to plop up the grade school, and that'll at least get that system started. And right here, these buttholes keep moving out. Alright. So as soon as you plop the grade school, school bus stops become available, and you just kind of spread these out in your residential areas so that the kids can get to school. Anywhere just kind of central. Put over here. Now there is an hourly cost with these. It's $10 an hour. Normally you wouldn't be worried and you kind of go hog wild with bus stops, but in this case I have no money and I really need to maximize the space. And as you can see, the school has already raised land value, so these are flipping, and my hourly income is a result of that. You can see I'm almost down to negative 100 an hour. So I'm fine for right now. Just need to be aware that I'm low on money and I don't want to overexpend myself. Alright, so now that the school is here, it needs to have teachers, and when these homes are built, people move in, they should come to and teach at the school. And I guess you need a bus driver too. I'm not really too sure how many workers schools provide. I don't think it's very many, but it is a source for workers. And you can definitely run out of workers to your schools, and then your students will just not get taught. People will start complaining that they miss going to school, and they start protesting, getting all kinds of... shh. What's wrong with these people? All kinds of different things will happen if the school closes, so it's just better if you keep everything up and running. Gonna zoom out, see if we can get a neat little... Throw it back up to llama speed. So down here, when things start turning yellow, it means that it needs your attention. If it turns red, it means it's critical. It definitely needs your attention. So right now, there's just not enough shoppers. We have worker shortages, now we have shopper shortages. Probably built too much commercial. Really not too worried about it. Commerce will start moving out if they don't get enough shoppers, but meh. It's good enough that everything else is stable right now. I'm not too concerned. Might want to connect this road if possible, or this road, just to help out. It'll help out in the long run too, because it's pretty equidistant to that other city. It doesn't necessarily matter. It's hard to find good managers. So you get this a lot. Industry likes educated sims to work in their factories. Stupid sims are more prone to get sick. They're more prone to light themselves on fire. They're more prone to litter and not really care. So it's important that... Aw, look at these guys. Could be better though. We don't have a neighbor. What are you talking about? Zoom out. Get some good tunes. Shoot, I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, that's right, stupid people. An industry doesn't want to have that burden, so they like educated sims, and that little process kind of comes around when your grade school is ready for use. So grade schools are pretty small. Each classroom can only hold 150 students, and as soon as it fills to capacity, it'll start complaining about it. And instead of plopping another school, what you would do is just edit your school. So clicking on the structure and coming here to this edit button, you can add certain features to your school. So this little sign doesn't really do anything. Some of them take up space, some of them don't. You can plop that one there. Here's a flagpole. Plop that one there. But here are the buses. You can add buses, and you can build additional classrooms. There's an hourly cost associated with each one, and a deposit, so to speak. But it's much cheaper than, say, plopping another school or plopping like a high school. As a result, it doesn't make sense. I usually stay pretty well zoomed in for most of my gameplay. I'll zoom out when my city is bigger. But, you know, seeing lots of kind of these light green bubbles, so it's good. It's not too bad. Oh, thanks. Yeah. You're pretty cool, dude. Thanks. City Hall also has upgrades. I'll cover those in another video. I think they are very important. When you start a new region, the order that you pick. And as soon as you build one City Hall, it will contribute, any upgrades will contribute to the rest of the region. So you only need one Department of Finance in every city, in every region. You only need one Department of Education in every region. And then as soon as you get that, everything else just kind of falls into place. And that being said, your first City Hall generally takes up a huge amount of space as you plop these wings, and it's just a one-time expense, honestly. Because the space that all your other City Halls will take won't be anything at the same level as your first city. But we can cover that later. So, let's see, we're almost out of time. I wanted to keep these videos kind of short, build kind of up in spurts, and show you guys how to just organically grow a city. I've got a couple other cities that I play as well, so I'm probably going to play those while I'm building up my YouTube library. But I wanted to get something kind of started just to, one, get feedback, and two, see if there's any interest in more of these videos. This by no means means I'm going to stop making videos. It's just I'm going to go play my other region for a little while and really kind of test out the simulation, test the sim, because I think it might actually work now, which is kind of cool. So I'll throw it up to Cheetah for this last couple minutes. You know, please feel free, if you have any questions, ask in the comments, I guess. I'm pretty new to producing material, so open to feedback if you guys have any. I know I use the word a lot. It's filler. I get it. And I'm usually on Twitch. You can find me on Twitch. I'll have my deets, my digits out there at some point, but not just yet. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned something, or a few things. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Open to criticism. There's a lot of different ways to play this game. There's a lot of different ways to be very successful and be a huge failure. I've done kind of the extremes on both ends, and I just prefer to play SimCity this way. It's what I get the most enjoyment out of. So, have fun, everybody. Let's all be mayor. Bye-bye.